Hey YouTube, I'm back today with something I've really been looking forward to getting done. Today I'm going to continue my KonMari method and I'm going to declutter all of my paper. So this includes any kind of paperwork, any paper I had in the States when I was a teacher, like back from work, manuals, receipts, all kinds of stuff like that. So while it seems like a very boring type of thing to declutter, I love mass deleting emails, recycling old stuff I don't need. So to me, this is kind of an exciting day. So if you're interested in the paperwork and paper things I'm about to declutter, please make sure that you continue watching and I'll show you how I store things. Okay, so what I'm actually doing now is I'm actually showing you my least favorite part of the apartment. This is where we store my boyfriend's video games, my books, my work stuff, my paperwork for any and all immigration matters, and just like everything that he needs for work. So he's a pilot, so he has a bunch of like manuals and whatever. So I'm actually not touching his stuff because even though he does have a bunch of manuals for aircraft that he doesn't fly anymore, I don't know what he needs and what he wants and what he doesn't, so that's really not my thing, so I'm not going to touch that. So I'm just going to touch my stuff. But yeah, I just cringe at the way that we store paper and books and his games and whatever, so that's actually something I would also like to change today. So he's actually out on a flight now, so he's not with me, but when he gets home, or really tomorrow, because he'll get home late, I would like to kind of work with him on how we can make this bookshelf not drive me so insane. Like, I'm telling you, I will wind up in a crazy house if I don't change the way this looks. So there at the bottom, he has like his kind of work stuff, and he is kind of a gamer, so he has a whole bunch of video games. Up there in the kind of middle section, I don't even know what he has on the left, but I think it's something for work. And he has headsets and whatever for his games. And then on the right, I have my books that I've actually already decluttered. Up here, he has just more work stuff and finance stuff and whatever. And then up there on the almost top shelf, we don't really keep anything up there, but on the almost top shelf, I have stuff that I brought over from teaching in the US and some immigration paperwork. And then there on the right is actually a printed canvas, I guess, that he has. So we actually like to watch Archer. We actually have gone through the series twice. So he is like oddly proud of that Archer canvas that he has yet to hang up. So again, I cannot stand this part of our apartment and I'd really love to tackle it and take care of that today. So I have some other stuff just kind of like lying around randomly, like receipts and manuals and stuff like that. And I will grab those, but the bulk of what I'm doing will be from these shelves here. So without further ado, I will grab all of my paper, put it all in one place as per the KonMari method, and take you guys along in my decluttering. Alright, so here is all of my paper. Now it looks like a bunch of stuff, but compared to what other people can have, it's really not too bad. However, I think it'll still take me a little bit of time to go through all of this just because a lot of my things are already neatly filed into certain things. Like this, for example, was on our bookshelf, and this contains every single piece of paper that was relevant to me while I was filing paperwork to immigrate here to Australia. So this has a ton of stuff in it. These white binders have a ton of stuff in them because this is what I narrowed down from teaching to bring here to Australia. So I'll also be doing the KonMari method with that. Now, the KonMari method can be a little bit different for paperwork because Marie Kondo acknowledges the fact that even though some paperwork might not bring us joy or might not spark joy, we have to have it because that's just how life is. Now, she suggest a very particular style, kind of like a folding clothes, but for storing papers, that's based off of when and how often you need to address what that paper is. So for example, maybe like your internet bill would be if you get a paper form of it. would be in a folder or in a file that says, you know, like needs to be addressed immediately, something like that. Now, I'm going to make mine a little bit different because I am knee deep in my next visa application process right now. So a lot of my paperwork that people typically wouldn't need very often, like my birth certificate, my college transcripts, I actually need right now. However, if I made a file right now of things I need to address immediately, it'll have like a whole bunch of weird stuff in it because of my weird life circumstances right now. So I'm not going to do that kind of filing system right now because the fact that all my immigration stuff is in here right now and I have it already tabbed out works for me. It's very organized in this thing. So in the future, I can see myself doing Marie Kondo's method of organizing papers, but for right now, I'm not going to mess with that. However, I will link down below a video that shows how one would organize papers under normal circumstances. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and get started and start going through all of my paper. Okay, so I actually wound up losing some footage. The very last thing I decluttered, which was my binder of freshman and sophomore content. However, just take my word for it that I did get rid of quite a bit from there. So I just want to show you what I have left. So on my right, this is every single thing I'm getting rid of. So it's mostly school stuff, which is nice because I don't have to take the time to shred it since it's not sensitive documents. Like, some stranger could pick it up out of the recycling if they're so inclined and I wouldn't even care. So, like, that's fine. I don't have to shred much, but I will be shredding some old checks that just have outdated information on them and stuff like that. So that is my pile of everything that I was able to declutter. Now, here to my left, I have a pile, the more colorful one, of just a notebook that I use for work, and I use notebooks every day at work, so I do have a reason to hang on to one. I don't have multiples, just that one, and it works for me. And I do have some colored plastic folders that I used for teaching that I don't want to get rid of because they have definitely stood the test of time and they're still in great condition, so I want to keep them. To the right of that is just some blank greeting cards that I use for just several different occasions. Like if I interview for a job, I use those to send a thank you note later. I use them to send notes of encouragement to kids who are feeling, or who at least I think are feeling especially down. You know, just stuff like that. It works great for weddings, birthdays, stuff like that. I keep them around and I really like them. So in this black folder, I actually chose not to go through that because, like I said in my last video, or in the last part of this video, I have already made a very organized system for filing things in there, and it's where I keep all of my documents that are basically anything about me, so anything that I would need for immigration. So I mentioned that I am knee-deep in my next application. I'm actually applying for permanent residence here in Australia, and they need, I swear, like my whole life story for my application. So I'm not comfortable getting rid of any of those documents right now, so perhaps in about 4 months or so, when my application is done, then I'll be comfortable going through that. However, I went through that about 2 months ago, so I feel like it's actually organized okay and I don't really need to touch it. Now, next to that, I have manuals for everything in our apartment that has a manual. With the exception of my devices, everything that we have a manual to is actually owned by my boyfriend, since I really don't have a reason to bring those kinds of things overseas because they probably wouldn't work here anyway. But yeah, I'm actually going to leave that pile to him and have him figure out if he wants to keep that stuff tomorrow. Now, finally, this is anything and everything that I have ever used for work. So sorry that the lighting's not really great in that particular area, or when I pan to that particular area, but the two white binders are things I used for work, and then below that is just paperwork and everything that I have actually for my current job here in Melbourne. So something you should know is with these particular binders, before I started moving them over, I had I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of these packed with just stuff, fell out, just stuff that I taught and whatever. And I'm really excited because now I'm at a point where I can fit all of my junior senior content into that, and this is all of my freshman sophomore content that I chose to keep. So while I wasn't able to do a traditional KonMari method with most of my paperwork, I actually was with my teaching content because I was able to say, well, I might not teach this novel again. However, if I wanted to, what lessons brought me joy? What assignments brought me joy to teach? And that's what I kept. That's how, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my job, but you know, if you're a teacher, you understand that there are definitely lessons that you love more than others, and the ones that I just love and couldn't bear to part with is just what I kept. So I'm actually really excited that I could reduce this down to 1 binder too. So whenever I start teaching again, I will definitely have way more stuff again, but right now, since I'm kind of in between teaching jobs, I'm able to really reduce down what I have, and that brings me joy. So with that, that is my paper declutter. Next, we are moving on to what Marie Kondo calls kimono, which I will discuss in my next video. So with that, please like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at yellowbrickexpat, same way it's spelled here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.